letting people know this is who you are. This is how I lead, and this is why I lead how I lead, and how my identities influence the way I lead so that people understand that. But it goes back to making sure you understand who you are and why you lead the way you do, or why you show up the way you do. And then once you recognize that, once you tell people, to let them know they have permission to be themselves. So for me, again, Mexican American, Chicano, had a lot of friendships and relationships with people who either identified with the same ethnic group or even other ethnic groups. The other thing when I work with organizations is getting clear about people, or gaining a better understanding of people's individual conflict and confrontation styles, because that can generally lead to misunderstanding, particularly when it comes to a manager holding an employee accountable and becomes a conversation. The other person raises their voice. The manager goes, "Oh my gosh, you're being aggressive." Well, the reality is, if you understood culture, some cultures, raising your voice, being very demonstrative is a part of the culture, their particular culture. And for you, so as a person of color, recognizing that, so when I engage in confrontation that leads or becomes that way, that I have an understanding of, oh, that person may be demonstrating unhappiness in a certain way. That doesn't mean they're gonna hit me. It doesn't mean that they may be upset, that's why they're raising their voice, but that doesn't mean they're always gonna be that way. How do I have an understanding that culture influences conflict? Then how do I engage in a conversation, recognizing that someone's going to potentially raise their voice, wave their hands, and not take it as a sign of threat, right? So for me, because I have that experience, also being in a family that sometimes has people who like to raise their voice, right? Use humor a certain way. I have an understanding of that. Right. So leaning into that piece of my knowledge is really important and has helped me be successful. Letting people know this is who you are. This is how I lead, and this is why I lead how I lead, and how my identities influence the way I lead, so that people understand that, right? This is why I raise my voice. This is why I want to know more about what you do on the weekends. This is why I value teamwork versus individual work, right? Communal work versus personal work, so that people recognize, oh, Joel is leading from that place, and this is the environment, this is the culture he wants to create on his team, because this is important to him and these are part of his identities, right? That's a way to start. And it goes back to making sure you understand who you are and why you lead the way you do, or why you show up the way you do. And then once you recognize that, once you tell people, to let them know they have permission to be themselves. I would say there'd be a more openness to having dialogue across difference. Be able to ask questions without fear of retribution. So having this feeling of safety and demonstrating safety, that people can challenge, can ask questions, and those are valued. And I would say organizations that do that are the ones that are more successful than those that don't. We would have much more meaningful conversations, and there will be less likelihood of mistakes happening because we're able to bring everything to the table, particularly when it comes to making hard decisions. It does require the organization to be brave. Courage is important because if it's an older organization, there's always been a way of doing things. So it's going to require a heavy lift. But if the organization truly wants to continue to move forward and retain their employees, and the fact that their employees are becoming more diverse more diverse employees are coming into the organization, I believe organization will see the value of doing that.